My mom hissed, "Don't make a scene, Monica. Just leave quietly." So I left. But the very next day, my family started facing some serious consequences. Let's dive into it. My name's Monica, and I'm 33 years old. I work for a real estate development company where I've climbed the ranks to a pretty senior position. It took years of hard work to get here, and I'm darn proud of what I've achieved. But the best part? Last year, I finally bought my dream house. Oh, I love this place so much. It's everything I ever wanted. 3 cozy bedrooms, 2 modern bathrooms, a spacious kitchen with sleek granite countertops, and a living system room with these massive windows that let in so much natural light. I spent months obsessing over every detail, the paint colors, the furniture, even the doorknobs. Everything had to be perfect. My living room walls are this stunning deep teal color. I know it's bold, and some people might raise an eyebrow, but I don't care. This is my house, and I get to paint it however I want. The curtains are cream with delicate gold threads woven through them, and they look absolutely gorgeous against my charcoal gray sofa. I've got this beautiful coffee table made from reclaimed wood, which I found at a local craftsman's shop. It's one of a kind, just like my home. My parents are decent folks, I suppose. Dad's been working at the post office for, 20 years. Mom stays home mostly, doing part-time bookkeeping for small businesses. They're not wealthy, but they get by just fine. They still live in the same 2-bedroom ranch house where I grew up. Then there's my younger brother, Jake. He's 29 and works in the marketing department at a mid-sized company. Jake's always been the baby of the family, you know. Mom and Dad still treat him like he's a teenager sometimes. Jake's been dating this woman named Cassandra for about a year now. They met at work, same department, different teams. Let me be honest, I can't stand Cassandra. She's one of those people who acts like she's better than everyone else. Beautiful? Sure. Long blonde hair, flawless makeup, designer clothes even on casual days. But her attitude? It just grates on me. She acts like she's an expert on everything. I threw a housewarming party a year ago, and I still remember it vividly. I was so excited to show off what I'd accomplished. I'd worked my tail off to save for the down payment, and I'm still paying a hefty mortgage, but it's worth every penny. This place is huge, Monica, Mom said, walking through the rooms. It's really nice, but don't you think it's a bit big for just one person? Dad nodded in agreement. Yeah, honey, this feels like a family house. You've got all these empty bedrooms. I brushed it off. I like having space. I work from home sometimes, so one room's my office. And I love having a guest room for when friends or family visit. But I could see it in their eyes, not quite jealousy, but something close. Like they couldn't wrap their heads around why a single woman like me deserved all this space. Cassandra was there too, of course, clinging to Jake's arm. She spent the entire party critiquing my choices. That teal is very bold, she said, eyeing my living room walls like they'd personally insulted her. I like bold, I shot back. She made this little humming noise, like she was politely disagreeing, but clearly didn't approve. The whole night, she kept dropping these subtle jabs. My kitchen backsplash was interesting. The bathroom tiles were unique. Every comment was a criticism wrapped in fake politeness. I kept smiling and saying, "Thank you," but inside, I was fuming. Who was she to waltz into my home and judge my style? This was my dream house, and I'd poured my heart into every single detail. Over the next few months, Jake and Cassandra would drop by occasionally. Well, Jake would visit and Cassandra would tag along. Every single time, she'd find something new to nitpick. You know, Monica, if you ever want decorating advice, I took some design classes in college, she said once, all smug. Thanks, but I'm happy with how everything looks, I replied, keeping my cool. Oh, I'm sure you are, she said in that condescending tone that screamed she wasn't. Another time, she suggested I tone down my color choices. Neutral colors are so much more timeless, she said, like my house was some tacky eyesore. I was getting really tired of her comments, but I didn't want to stir up trouble with Jake. He seemed happy with her, though I couldn't figure out why. Sure, she was pretty, but she was also a total nightmare to be around. The final straw came about 8 months after the housewarming party. Jake and Cassandra came over for dinner, and she was in rare form that night. Monica, I've been thinking about your living room. She started the second she walked in. Have you considered painting over that teal? It's so overwhelming. And those curtains? It's like sensory overload. That was it. I'd had enough. I turned to her with the sweetest smile I could muster. You know what, Cassandra? When you buy your own house, you can decorate it however you want with that design genius of yours. Jake shifted uncomfortably. Monica, come on. No, Jake, I snapped. I'm done with her criticizing my taste every time she steps foot in my house. This is my home, and I love it just the way it is. Cassandra stood up abruptly. I was just trying to help. God, you're so sensitive. And you're so helpful, I shot back, not hiding my sarcasm anymore. She grabbed her purse. Jake, we're leaving. Cassandra, wait, Jake said, but she was already storming toward the door. He followed her out, shooting me a disappointed look over his shoulder. That was uncalled for, Monica. After they left, I sat in my beautiful living room, surrounded by my teal walls and cream and gold curtains, and I felt relieved. Finally, I'd said what I'd been holding in for months. Maybe it wasn't the kindest way to handle it, but I was done pretending to smile while she insulted my home. I didn't hear from Jake for a while after that. Weeks passed without a call or visit. I figured he was mad at me for snapping at Cassandra, but honestly, I wasn't about to apologize. She had it coming. About 2 months after that dinner disaster, my phone rang. I was in my home office, reviewing some property development proposals, when Jake's name popped up on the screen. I almost didn't answer. We hadn't spoken since that night. Hey, Monica, Jake said when I picked up. His voice sounded different, excited, maybe a little nervous. Hi, Jake. How are you? I'm great. Actually, really great. Listen, I have some news. He paused, and I could practically hear him grinning through the phone. Cassandra and I are getting married. I sat back in my chair. I wasn't exactly shocked, but hearing it out loud still hit me. Wow, congratulations. Thanks. The wedding's in a month at the Grand Ballroom at the Riverside Hotel. Cassandra found it, and it's perfect. So, obviously, you're invited. I mean, you're my sister. I want you there. Despite everything, I felt a small flutter of happiness. Jake was my brother, and if he was happy, I wanted to be happy for him, even if I couldn't stand his fiancée. Of course I'll be there, Jake. I wouldn't miss it. Awesome. There's just one more thing. His voice shifted, getting a little awkward. The wedding's going to be expensive, you know. The venue, the catering, Cassandra's dress, the flowers, everything. Could you maybe help us out with the costs? I know you're doing well at work, and I thought. I glanced around my home office at the mortgage statements on my desk, the bills I still had to pay. But Jake was my brother. How much do you need? Well, we were hoping for maybe $20,000. I nearly choked. I can give you $10,000 right now, I interrupted. There was a long pause. Oh, okay. I mean, that's great. Thanks, Monica. I really appreciate it. But I could hear the disappointment in his voice. He'd been hoping for more. After he hung up, I stared at my phone. $10,000 was a lot of money. More than I'd ever given anyone for anything. But apparently, it wasn't enough. I transferred the money that afternoon, just like I promised. Jake sent a quick text saying, thanks, and that was it. No call, no real conversation, just thanks. A few days later, Mom called, which was unusual. She didn't call often unless something was wrong. Monica, honey, I need you to come over. We need to have a serious talk. Can you come tonight? I figured they wanted to lecture me about the wedding money. Maybe Jake had told them I'd only given $10,000 instead of $20,000. I was ready to defend myself. I'd been helping Jake with his rent every month. I sent money to Mom and Dad regularly, too. $10,000 for a wedding was generous, not stingy. Fine. I'll be there around 7. Good. We'll see you then. When I pulled into my parents' driveway that evening, I noticed Jake's car was already there. Great, a family meeting. I walked in without knocking, like always. Everyone was seated around the dinner table, Mom, Dad, Jake, and Cassandra. They all looked up when I entered, and the vibe was weird, tense. Hi, everyone, I said, sliding into the empty chair they'd left for me. Monica, Mom said, nodding. Dad gave me a small wave. Jake forced a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Cassandra just stared at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. So, what did you want to talk about? I asked. Mom cleared her throat. Well, Jake and Cassandra are getting married next month. I know. Jake already told me. Congratulations again, you two. Thank you, Cassandra said curtly. The thing is, Mom continued, after the wedding, they're going to need somewhere to live. I glanced at Jake. You guys are living together now, right? In that apartment downtown. Yeah, but it's just a rental, Jake said. And it's not very nice. It's small, and the neighborhood's not great. I shrugged. Lots of people rent apartments. There's nothing wrong with that. Cassandra leaned forward, her tone sharp. I'm not living in a rental apartment after I'm married. I want to live in a real house, in a nice neighborhood. I looked around the table, trying to figure out where this was going. Okay, so start looking for a house to buy. The market's pretty good for buyers right now. That's the thing, Mom said. They can't afford to buy a house right now, especially not a nice one. So, they keep renting until they can afford to buy. That's what normal people do. Or, Dad said, speaking up for the first time, family helps family. A chill ran down my spine. What do you mean? Mom looked me dead in the eyes. We think you should give Jake and Cassandra your house. For a moment, I couldn't process what she'd said. I'm sorry, what? Your house is too big for one person anyway, Cassandra chimed in. You don't need all that space. But Jake and I, we're going to be a family. We need a real home. It makes sense. It makes sense. I looked around the table at all of them staring at me, like this was a perfectly reasonable request. Are you all completely insane? Don't be dramatic, Dad said. You make good money. You can afford to buy something else, something more appropriate for a single woman. Like a nice apartment, Cassandra added helpfully. Something smaller, more manageable. I stood up, my hands shaking. I am not giving anyone my house. Are you kidding me right now? Monica, sit down, Mom said. Let's discuss this rationally. Rationally? I laughed bitterly. You want me to give away the house I saved for years to buy? The house I'm still paying a mortgage on? The house I love? I'm leaving. I headed for the door, but Cassandra's voice followed me. You're being selfish, Monica. You're a terrible sister. I stopped and looked at Jake, who hadn't said a word this whole time. Is this what you want too? My house? He looked uncomfortable. Monica, it would really help us out. That was all I needed to hear. I walked out without another word. I drove home in complete shock. I sat in my car in my driveway for, 10 minutes, just staring at my house, my beautiful house with the teal walls and cream curtains. The house I'd worked so hard to buy. And they wanted me to just give it away? The next morning, my phone started buzzing with texts. Mom, Dad, even Jake, all telling me to think about it and be reasonable. The messages got more aggressive as the days went by. Mom kept texting about how disappointed she was in me. Dad sent long paragraphs about family loyalty. Jake just kept saying, please consider it. I didn't respond to any of them. After about a week, the messages stopped. I guess they finally got the hint. The wedding was still happening, though, and despite everything, I decided to go. Jake was my brother, and I wasn't going to let his awful fiancé keep me from his big day. The morning of the ceremony, I put on my best dress, a navy blue wrap dress I'd bought just for the occasion. I did my makeup carefully, curled my hair, and called a taxi to take me to the venue. They hadn't sent me a wedding registry, which was odd, but whatever. I decided to give them cash because, well, everyone can use money, right? I transferred $1,000 to Jake's account with a note that said, "Wedding gift from Monica." $1,000 seemed like a generous gift, especially on top of the $10,000 I'd already given them for wedding expenses. The Riverside Hotel was fancy. Really fancy, the kind of place that charges $500 just to walk through the door. The grand ballroom was decked out with white flowers and gold accents, and there had to be at least 200 guests. I found the seating chart and looked for my name. Table 12. I counted the tables from the front. 1, 2, 3. Table 12 was pretty far from the main table where the wedding party sat, but whatever. I wasn't there to be the center of attention. As I sat down, someone tapped my shoulder. I turned to see David Chin, the director of the marketing company where Jake and Cassandra worked. "Monica, good to see you," David said, smiling. "How have you been?" David and I had been friends for years. We'd met through a mutual friend at a work conference and stayed in touch. When Jake needed a job a couple of years ago, I'd asked David if his company was hiring. That's how Jake ended up working there. We chatted for a few minutes before David had to go to his table, table 3, much closer to the front than mine. Interesting priorities, I guess. The ceremony started, and I have to admit, it was beautiful. Cassandra looked stunning in her dress, and Jake looked genuinely happy. For a moment, I forgot all the drama and just felt glad that my brother was marrying someone he loved. After the ceremony, there was cocktail hour, then dinner, and then the toasts began. The usual stuff: best man, maid of honor, parents. Then Mom got up to the microphone. "And now," she said, "we'd like to hear from Jake's sister, Monica." Everyone turned to look at me. I hadn't expected to give a speech, but okay, I could handle this. I walked to the front and took the microphone from Mom. I looked out at all the faces, then at Jake and Cassandra at the head table. "Hi, everyone. I'm Monica, Jake's sister. I just want to say I'm really happy for Jake and Cassandra today. Jake, you've always been my little brother, and seeing you this happy makes me happy too. Cassandra, welcome to the family. I hope you two have a wonderful life together." Short and sweet. I was about to hand the microphone back when I noticed Cassandra's face. She looked furious. What had I said wrong? Before I could figure it out, she stood up and practically snatched the microphone from my hands. "Actually," she said, her voice booming through the ballroom, "I don't really want Monica here at all." The room went dead silent. You could have heard a pin drop. "Monica is one of the most selfish, greedy people I've ever met," she continued, gripping the microphone. "Do you want to know what she gave us as a wedding gift? $1,000. $1,000. Do you know what we asked her for? Her house, her empty, oversized house that she doesn't even need because she's all alone." People started whispering. My face burned with embarrassment. "Cassandra, please," I said, reaching for the microphone. "Can we talk about this privately?" She pushed my hand away. "No, everyone should know what kind of person you really are." I reached for the microphone again, and this time, she shoved me harder. "Cassandra, calm down." That's when she slapped me, ***, right across the face, in front of 200 people. The ballroom went silent again. My cheek stung as I stood there, looking at my family. Mom and Dad stared at me with disapproval, like I was the problem. Jake was staring at his plate, avoiding my eyes. Even Cassandra's parents were nodding along, like she'd done something justified. I waited for someone to say something, anything. But no one did. Mom walked over and hissed in my ear, "Don't make a scene. Just leave quietly. You've already ruined their special day." I didn't say a word. I walked back to my table, grabbed my purse, and headed for the exit. My face was still burning from the slap, and I could feel everyone's eyes on me as I left. Outside the hotel, I called a taxi and waited on the sidewalk. That's when David came out after me. "Monica, are you okay?" he asked. "I'll drive you. My car's right here." "You don't have to do that. You should go back to the reception." "No way. I've seen enough." He opened his car door for me. "Come on." On the drive home, I finally broke down. "I've helped Jake so many times, David. I got him the job at your company. I help him with rent money. I give my parents money too. And this is how they treat me." "I know," David said quietly. "I've seen how much you've done for your family. What happened in there was wrong." When we got to my house, I thanked David for the ride and went inside. I took a long shower, trying to wash away the whole awful evening. Then I turned off my phone and went to bed. The next morning, I slept late. When I finally turned my phone back on, I had dozens of missed calls and texts. Jake, Mom, Dad, all of them demanding I fix this situation. Apparently, Cassandra had decided I was now some vengeful witch. I had no idea what they were talking about. Fix what? Then Mom called, and I made the mistake of answering. "Monica, what did you do?" she screamed. "Jake and Cassandra got fired last night. They got messages from their boss saying they were terminated, effective immediately. David had fired them." I glanced at the clock. It was almost noon on Sunday. I didn't do anything, Mom. Don't lie to me. We know you're friends with their boss. You told him to fire them. I didn't ask David to fire anyone. Then call him right now and tell him to change his mind. I actually laughed. No, I'm not calling David. If he fired them, he had his reasons. I blocked all their numbers, Mom, Dad, Jake, Cassandra, everyone. Then I blocked them on Facebook, Instagram, all social media. I was done with their drama. Monday morning, they showed up at my house. I was getting ready for work when I heard banging on my front door, then shouting, "Monica, open this door right now." That was Mom. "We know you're in there." Dad's voice. I peeked out my bedroom window and saw all four of them on my porch: Jake, Cassandra, Mom, and Dad. Cassandra looked like she'd been crying, and she was screaming louder than anyone. "You ruined our honeymoon. We can't afford to go to Hawaii now because we don't have jobs. This is all your fault." I cracked the window just enough to respond. "I didn't ask David to fire you. He saw how you acted at the wedding and made his own decision." Mom stepped forward. "You're being vindictive and ungrateful. After everything we've done for you." "Everything you've done for me? Like what?" "Demanding I give you my house. We're your family." Dad shouted. "Family doesn't slap each other at weddings," I replied. "And if you don't leave my property right now, I'm calling the police." I meant it too. I had my phone in my hand, ready to dial. They finally left, but not before Cassandra hurled a few more insults at my house. After that, they stopped bothering me directly, but I heard things through extended family. My cousin Lisa called a few weeks later and said Jake and Cassandra had both found new jobs, but they were lower-paying positions at smaller companies. They'd also moved to a cheaper apartment since I wasn't helping with rent anymore. About a month after the wedding disaster, Mom called from a different number. "Monica, I think we should meet and talk about this whole situation." "There's nothing to talk about, Mom. You can't stay mad at your family forever. We need to work this out." "No, we don't. You all made it very clear where I stand with you. I'm not interested in working anything out right now." I hung up and blocked that number too. The weird thing? I felt relieved. Without their constant requests for money, guilt trips, and criticism, I had so much more time and energy for my own life. I got a promotion at work. I redecorated my guest bedroom. I started taking pottery classes on weekends. And David and I started spending more time together. He called a few days after the wedding to check on me, and we ended up talking for hours. He told me he'd fired Jake and Cassandra because watching them publicly attack me showed him who they really were. "I don't want employees who think it's okay to humiliate family members at weddings," he said. Plus, Cassandra's behavior was completely unhinged. I can't have someone like that representing my company. We started having coffee regularly, then dinner dates. 3 months after the wedding, we officially became a couple. David understood my family situation because he'd seen it firsthand. He never pressured me to reconcile or told me to just get over it. "You deserve better than how they treated you," he told me one evening as we sat in my living room with the teal walls. "You're generous and loving, and they took advantage of that." It's been 6 months since the wedding. I heard through Lisa that Jake and Cassandra are doing okay in their new jobs, but they're making less money and had to cancel their honeymoon plans. Part of me feels a tiny bit bad about that, but mostly I don't think about them anymore. I still live in my beautiful house with the teal walls and cream curtains. I still love every inch of it. No one criticizes my decorating choices anymore, and no one demands I give it away. My relationship with David is going strong. We've talked about moving in together someday, maybe buying a bigger place that we both choose, but there's no rush, no pressure, just two people who care about each other making decisions together. I don't miss the constant family drama. I don't miss the guilt trips, the financial demands, or Cassandra's snarky comments about my house. Sometimes I wonder if I'll ever reconcile with my parents or Jake. Maybe someday, if they can acknowledge what they did wrong and apologize. But I'm not holding my breath. And honestly, I'm okay with that. These past few months have taught me something important. Family isn't just about blood. It's about the people who respect you, support you, and treat you with kindness. David does that. My real friends do too. The people who demanded my house, criticized my choices, and publicly humiliated me, they don't deserve a place in my life. even if we share DNA. I'm happier now than I've been in years. My house is still perfect. My job is thriving. And I'm in love with someone who truly appreciates me.